Watch my foot. 1962 Shelby Cobra. This is a 260. Most people think of the 289 as a Shelby Cobra, but this is a 260. It's a very, very, very early car. As a matter of fact, one of the very first Shelby Cobras ever made. And for those you don't know, Carroll Shelby, the man behind these cars, was a chicken farmer from Texas, turned race car driver, and he came over to Europe thinking about racing and thinking about cars. And what he did is he found a British car, the AC, and thought, doesn't have a very powerful engine. What if I put one of my big American V8s in the front and make it a very fast car, which is exactly what he did. The chassis could take the power. That American Ford 8-cylinder was much more powerful than the Ace engine, and just the same weight as well. So the handling wasn't really affected by this extra power, and it turned out to be a very successful formula. The Cobra went on racing and went on to win many, 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 many races. This is probably where it all started. This is the fifth of the ACs ever produced with a 260 engine, and the first car to have been sold to the first private owner. So when Carroll Shelby came over, he just fell in love with the AC, or thought the AC chassis was the one to have, and then put his V8 engine in, and this is the result. A very fast, very capable AC Cobra, which then went on to race all over the world with great, great success. So amazing that a Texan chicken farmer could come over and have this brilliant idea and make one of the most successful cars in racing, and great to drive on the road. Thank you for bringing the 260 over. Again, one of the very first cars ever sold to the public. There's something about that 8-cylinder verbal, isn't there? Aston Martin DB4 convertible. I think this one I know quite well. Good to have new guests in the car. Again, DB, I explained to you the story, why, where the DB comes from. And actually, interestingly, the David Brown, is, if you notice, is even written in the badge above the Aston Martin name. So the DB4, probably one of the more popular Astons that were produced, and it was designed by Touring Superleggera. Superleggera, why? Well, Superleggera because it was a type, actually I should ask Louis, he will correct me, a way of manufacturing the bodies which was very light, which I think came from the aeronautical industry, did it not? There we go, I'm getting this right. I've got the man himself here making me nervous. So what they would do was make a wire frame underneath the body and then wrap the metal around the wire frame to make it one, very strong, and of course also very, very light. And this was a system that was patented by Touring, who designed this Aston Martin, the DB4. This is a convertible, one of the rarest of all of the DB4s. Only 70 of these cars were built, in a Series 5, which is a very late car, one of the last DB4 Aston convertibles designed by Touring. Davide, thank you for bringing the car. Magnificent. If it starts. So this is styling from Milan, obviously clothing the Aston Martin brand. '63 Mercedes 220 SE Cabriolet. You know, we were talking about the E-Type and what a success it was, and the Mercedes 220 SE the Cabriolet came out in 1963, so pretty much the same time as the Jaguar E-Type, but it was twice the price, to give you an idea. Twice as expensive as the Jaguar E-Type. And the build quality of this Mercedes was just phenomenal. We were talking about it earlier on, and I learned that to make the car stiffer, as it's a convertible, I always wonder how the doors on a Mercedes can always shut so well. Well, to make the Mercedes stiffer, they had two floor pans. So there's a normal floor pan, and then Mercedes would leave a space and put a second floor pan in to make the car stiff so that it doesn't flex and being convertible. So that gives you an idea of the build quality of these cars. I also learned today that it's the first car, or one of the first cars that ever was put in a crash test. the first crash test cars, and Mercedes even designed crumple zones in the front and in the back. So it was a very interesting talking to you, because I've learned a lot about the Mercedes 220, and I understand now why, or how come the quality of these cars was so good. Very rare, of course, in right-hand drive and manual, and just a stunning restoration.
Thank you, guys, and yeah, please accept the award for class runner-up. Congratulations, and thank you for bringing on the tour again yesterday. We had a wonderful day with you all. Well done. Congratulations.
AC Cobra, oh, well, ladies and gentlemen, that's okay. You know, they say the Cobra, especially the 427, is so powerful, it's difficult to handle. And as you saw coming around the corner, he even missed the entrance of our stage, because it's such a fast and powerful car. You saw earlier the 260, so the 260 was the first one built. It's the little brother, or little sister, of the 427. Carroll Shelby was racing, and I suppose, like any man from Texas, wanted faster, wanted more power, and so if you look, the wheel arches got bigger and faster, still that AC chassis, and the engine in this car is no longer a 289 but a 427. It's a humongous Ford American V8, and I can tell you the power coming out of the 427 is absolutely phenomenal. The engine note, of course, to suit. One of the prettiest cars, and it's really interesting to see how with time it just got bigger wheels, more power, bigger wheel arches. This is the ultimate evolution of the Cobra, the 427, and with the power to boot. Be careful going around that corner there. Ferrari Daytona Spider. How about that? A 12-cylinder Ferrari Daytona Spider. How nice to see this car again. I remember it from a few years ago. Great color combination. You may remember the Daytona Spider from the film, or from the Gumball Rally, or from the Miami Vice. Well, I have some news for you. In Miami Vice, the Daytona Spider was actually a replica. It wasn't the real thing that you see here. Hello, March. That you see here. Nice to see you. That you see here in front of you. Another interesting fact about Daytona Spiders: it was used. One of these cars was used in the Gumball Rally, and it drove from New York to LA. I had to write down the stats. I was so impressed. 2,876 miles. In one go in 35 hours, cross-country in America. That gives you an idea of how fast and how powerful the Ferrari Daytona is. It is a mean machine. In a straight line, it is extremely fast, and in spider form, really quite rare. Just over 100 Daytona Spiders were ever built, and probably one of the more desirable, it is one of the most desirable open-top Ferrari 12-cylinder cars, which makes sense. 2 seats, convertible, V12, what else would you want from life? Thank you very much for bringing the Daytona Spider.
And hold on just before you go, because we've got a little award here. There's no surprise, these Daytona Spiders, you say, Max, 122 of them made, super rare. It's a massive favourite, and I know David brings a lot of cars to Salon Privé. Again, a huge convert of what we do. And Your Grace, he is one class winner, so congratulations, guys.
Congratulations, well-deserved win for the Daytona Spider. Thank you for bringing it. Ferrari, still something a little bit older, the 275 GTS. Small panic, it got stage fright, did it? But it's back. 275 GTS, so before the Daytona Spider, there was a 275, I should say, there was a 330 GTS and the 275 GTS. You probably remember seeing the 275 GTB earlier on, which was the sleek, long, two-seater coupe. This was the convertible version, still again with that famed V12 Ferrari engine, and again designed by Pininfarina. Slightly older than the Daytona, so a very different driving experience. This is a little bit more of La Dolce Vita. This is a bit more of a classic 60s, and you don't get those angular 70s shape. Although, interestingly, both cars designed by Pininfarina. At this point, boring fact, Pininfarina would design them, and then they were sent off to Scaglietti to a separate factory to be built in Maranello. A very rare open-top V12 Ferrari. Thank you for bringing the 275 GTS. What a restoration as well. Class I, best of British at Blenheim Palace.